Rivet crew, what up? It's Friday, and we are finishing up the week with a nice long 30-minute AMRAP. Each round today consists or starts on the bike, I should say, 1,000 meters for the fellas, 800 meters for the ladies. This should take anywhere from a minute and a half to 2 minutes or so, relatively quick on the bike. And then we're going to move on to one full round of Barbara, which is 20 pull-ups, 30 push-ups, 40 ab mat sit-ups, and 50 air squats. Our calisthenics, our body weight movements in there. So we're going to bike, then do one round of Barbara, and then we'll go back to the bike and see how many times we can do that in 30 minutes. So keep track of your rounds and reps. Score-wise, every 100 meters on the bike counts as 1 point today. And then, of course, you get 1 point for every rep in barbell. This is one of those workouts, of course, where we alternate muscle groups, which is nice, kind of like Cindy. So the idea there is that you use a muscle group, and then that muscle group rests when you move on to using a different muscle group, right? And part of the mental incentive to keep you moving is knowing that what you're doing right now, the muscle group that you're using at the moment, will rest on the next thing. So we have pull-ups, of course. We have that upper body pull. Then we move on to some push-ups, which is an upper body push. Then we have ab mat sit-ups, of course, which is very core-centric. And then we finish up with some air squats, which is a lower body push. So the idea is we kind of cycle through those muscle groups. Everything's resting, or things are resting while you're using something else, and this helps keep moving you forward at all times. Probably the most two challenging movements in there are going to be those pull-ups and push-ups, of course. Set yourself up to get each of those done in, no more than a minute and a half per station. So if you need to either scale the movements themselves or scale the reps to get that done, please do, in order to kind of, get the desired stimulus of the workout. And then also planning on breaking those up a little bit, probably on your second, third, and how many rounds you get. Those are going to become more and more challenging, those upper body movements. So small, quick sets, pull-ups and push-ups are easy to break up. Don't take a lot of transition time or anything like that. So plan on doing short, quick sets, having short, quick breaks, and try to keep moving through those. That's about all I got for you today. Oh yeah, fire breather version today. If you have a weight vest laying around and you want to do a fire breather version, go ahead and throw that weight vest on. You will leave it on the entire time for the bike and for all the Barbara movements. Things I would think about. So, I like to think about quality when it comes to gymnastics. These movements that we're doing in here, the pull-ups, all these things it's easy to get sloppy with body weight movements. And you see it. I've spoken to a lot of different coaches across the years, and yeah, you look around a gym at any time, at any gym, and they're doing body weight movements like this, it's easy to see sloppy reps. People think, well, I'm not throwing a weight around, I'm not going to hurt myself, it doesn't matter about range of motion, whatever. None of that is true. We should always shoot for quality just as much as we're shooting for quantity, right? It's not so much the reps that you do, it's the quality in the reps that you do as well as the reps that you do. So do them well, do them right. And one thing to think about, so obviously range of motion, chin over bar with your pull-ups around clearly over the bar, ideally head neutral, arms fully straight at the bottom, push-ups, chest and only chest touches the floor, arms are fully extended at the top, and that body moves up and down as one solid piece. Knees are totally straight as well as the hips. Ab mat sit-ups are doing a nice 90 degree. We're going all the way down the floor, all the way back up. Ideally, shoulders slightly ahead of the hips at the top. And of course, air squats clearly below parallel at the bottom with the hips and knees fully open at the top. That's probably the one that tends to get mangled the most. Actually, no, it's probably the push-ups. But opening up hips and knees at the top, and then, of course, hip crease right here should be clearly below the top of the knee at the bottom every single time. So yeah, one thing, one cue today, one body part to think about is hips on all these movements, very important. When you're doing your kipping pull-ups today, focus really hard on driving those hips towards the bar before you pull. Again, pull-ups are going to get challenging after a while, so the less we are focusing on the actual pulling part, the more we can actually use those hips to create that moment of weightlessness before we pull, the better. Push-ups, I kind of mentioned this already. The hips and the shoulders should move up and down at exactly the same time. What tends to happen is the shoulders come up first and then the hips follow, and you end up with that kind of like snaky, wormy type thing. But ideally, the hips and shoulders should move at exactly the same time, down and up. The ab mat sit-ups, try to keep your hips pushed down into the floor. It's easy to extend over the ab mat, have your hips lift up in the air, and then slam it back down again as you're doing your sit-ups. This almost makes like has a kipping effect on it, which makes it easier, which makes it less beneficial to you getting fitter, faster, stronger. And it can also lead to the dreaded, whatever you want to call it, the butt burn, the butt berry, because your hips are going up and down off the floor. So try to keep those hips pressed down into the floor for your sit-ups. And then what's the last one? Air squats. Just think about hips going back and forward, back and forward. So when we start our squats, the hips go back and down. At the top of our squats, the hips come forward, right? We engage the glutes, we drive the hips forward to get that full range of motion, that RX range of motion. So hips are going forward, hips are going back. There you go, that's it. Have a great workout, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.